Hey boys and girls, tonight I am going to teach to you about angles. So we're going to learn about measuring and classifying angles, and really the purpose of tonight's homework is really just to get some information down for you for vocabulary and understanding about the different words that we're going to use tomorrow during class. So grab your flip video homework worksheet and let's get started. All right, boys and girls, you're going to notice that our flip video classroom homework worksheet looks a little bit different than the slides that I'm using tonight. And that's simply because the reason for your homework tonight is just to get an idea about vocabulary. So those are words that I'm going to use tomorrow with you in class about angles. And so you're going to be taking some notes tonight. So if you would, on your worksheet, look on the left-hand side and find where it says vocabulary, word, and definition. See on the left-hand side? Now underneath, you have something that doesn't look exactly like mine. You have, like, the first word says angle, right? So this is the word that I'm talking about here that's at the top of my slide. Find it on your sheet. And now you're going to write down the definition. So on the lines next to the word angle, you're going to write this sentence. Please write down a figure formed by two rays or line segments with the same endpoint. So take a couple of seconds and write this down. I'll repeat it a couple of times. So write it right next to the word angle, and then I'm going to explain what this means and actually have you draw an example of an angle. So it's a figure formed by two rays or line segments with the same endpoint. You can pause it here if you want, if you need more time to write down the definition. If you're all set, let's go on to what that looks like as a drawing, an example drawing. All right, boys and girls, now find the right side of your paper where it says example drawing. All right, there's a big box, and in the big box, I want you to copy down the drawing that I have. You're going to start with a point. So draw a nice bold black point with your pencil or marker or pen, whatever you're taking notes down tonight, and draw one ray that goes out in one direction, to the right, just like mine. So draw one right there. And now go back to the same point and now draw another ray that goes straight up to the top of your paper. So I just drew an angle. Why? Because I know an angle is two rays. These two lines that I'm pointing to, here's one ray, here's another ray. Okay, they're a ray because they have one endpoint, so that means they stop or they start. And then the arrow at the very end signifies that this line could go on forever and ever and ever and ever. So that's what's called a ray. But we know an angle is simply two of those rays that have the same endpoint, that match either at their start point or their end point. So if you didn't take this drawing down, draw it down right now and leave it because we're going to do a couple more things with it. All right, let's go on to the next word, which is side. So find the word side on your flip video classroom homework worksheet under where it says vocabulary, word, and definition. And now let's take down the definition. The part of an angle formed by a ray. The part of an angle formed by a ray. So we know every side or every angle has two sides. All right. So if you haven't taken down this definition, please do. And then if you need more time, just pause it right here because I'm going to keep talking about it. Now go on to your drawing. Let's look back at the drawing that we already did. We're going to label two things. I know one side right here is one side. So I'm going to label it side 1. And then I have another side down here. This is side 2. So I know a ray has one side, but two rays have two sides. So the part of an angle formed by a ray. Well, I know there's two rays, which means there's two sides of my angle. All right, let's go on to the next word, which is vertex. On your flip video worksheet, it's already taken down for you, so you don't have to write anything for this one. A vertex is simply the common point of two rays of an angle. Go over to your drawing. Let's see if we can find this vertex. Where's the point where the two rays meet? Can you label it? I'm going to draw a little arrow to it, and then I'm going to write next to it vertex. So I know right here where those two rays meet is the vertex of the two rays. That's where our angles meet, and that is the common point of an angle. Let's go on to our last word. The word degree. Again, this is already taken down for you, so you don't have to write anything down. It's simply a unit of measure for angles. So I might say, if after taking my protractor, I measure this angle that we drew, I might say this angle is 90 degrees. So I would mark a little mark down here and I would say 90. And then I put this little bubble next to it. That's actually degree symbol. So it's symbolizing that we're using a measurement called a degree. Now, degrees are different. I mean, you probably heard of saying, I might say, it's 50 degrees out today. It's really nice and warm. Well, because it's wintertime, I guess 50 degrees is warm this time of year. So it's not the same degree. It's used differently when we use a protractor. And I'll actually teach you how to use a protractor tomorrow. So again, a degree is a unit for measuring angles. Now let's look down at the 3 different types of angles that we're going to review in 5th grade. The first angle is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. So find the word right angle underneath vocabulary word and definition, right angle. And it says an angle that measures, you need to write down the words exactly 90 degrees. Exactly 90 degrees. Go ahead and write that down. Pause it if you need more time, and I'm going to explain what a 90-degree angle looks like. Alrighty, so I have a little box next to where it says right angle, and I'm going to have you draw one. So pretty much a right angle is any square corner. So let's say I start up here, and I draw one arrow going to the top. Well, I want a square corner. I'm going to take that same endpoint and I'm going to draw another arrow that goes down in the same direction. Together, the 2 points make a right square corner or a right angle. So right here where they both meet, I'll draw a little dot so you guys can see. Move it around so it's in the right place. So that's my vertex, and I know the corner right here is an example of a square corner or a right angle. So I know this measures 90 degrees, so a perfect, nice right corner. The next angle that I want to review is an acute angle. So find again where it says vocabulary word and definition, look for acute angle, and it already has for you an angle that measures, please write down the words, less than 90 degrees, less, and that's the more important word. So this time if I have an angle, and again you can pause it if you need more time to write that down, less than 90 degrees. This time I'm going to draw my angle, and I'd love for you again to follow along with me. So I know for an acute angle, I'm first going to start with that base ray. So I'm going to draw a ray that goes straight out. But now, for my second ray, I know it's got to be less than that 90 degrees. So before I drew a right angle that went straight up, it's going to be less than that. So I'm going to draw one that goes less, that actually ends up measuring less than 90 degrees. And that is considered an acute angle. And I don't know the exact measurement of this angle because I don't have a protractor on this, but I might say this measures 60 degrees. And again, this is just an observation. It is totally just an assumption. I don't know for sure. I could get my protractor out, but we're just going over vocabulary and definitions. So take a second and draw down an acute angle and make sure that you label where it says the example drawing. All right, last word that we have today. So again, find where it says obtuse angle. Obtuse angle underneath vocabulary word and definitions, and this time it already has an angle that measures, and you need to write down this time more than 90 degrees. And again, the key word is more. So an obtuse angle measures more than 90 degrees. Pause it here if you need more time to write that down. If you're done, let's draw an obtuse angle. So again, I'm going to start with that base ray that goes out in one direction. And this time, I'm going to think about this ray. So if it measures more than 90 degrees, I know 90 degrees goes straight up, right? And acute is less than 90 degrees. Guess which way I have to go now? I'm going to go bigger than 90 degrees. So let's say I go past that. So I'm going to go past the square corner. You can do an example drawing like mine, or you can try to get it to squish into that little box. I know I went outside of the box, and that's okay. And that's an obtuse angle. So an angle that measures more than 90 degrees. So I might say this angle measures 110 degrees. Again, it's just an assumption, but it's more than 90 degrees on my protractor. All right, boys and girls, that's all I had for you tonight. I hope that you took down these vocabulary words and definitions and started to remember each of the different examples from 4th grade last year. We're going to talk more about these tomorrow and start measuring some angles using a tool called a protractor. I'll see you tomorrow, boys and girls. Thanks again.